All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's topic on SU Teaches SU. My name is Laura Lassarin, and I'm the Program Director for the HA and MCB programs here at Southwest University. So thank you for taking the time to tune in today. I'm here to introduce our next presenter, Ms. Rincon, back to our videos. Be sure to check out her previous video on SU Teaches SU, What SU Can Make You. Today, she will be speaking on why do you want to go to school? So a little bit about Ms. Rincon is she is a lifelong resident of El Paso, Texas, and a graduate of Thomas and Jefferson High School. She likes to read and do crosswords and Sudoku and loves going to Las Vegas for vacation. She is a former singer for the El Paso Parks and Recreation Department, and she used to write songs and produce her own music. She is a proud alumni of Southwest University, where she was a 4.0 graduate of the Medical Coding and Billing program, a 4.0 graduate of the Bachelor's in Health Administration program, and she then later went on to pursue her graduate degree at the University of Texas at Tyler, where she received her master's in business administration with a concentration of healthcare management. She is a certified professional coder apprentice, a certified professional compliance officer, and a certified physician practice manager. Wow. She has been teaching with Southwest University for 9 years now, and we absolutely love what she brings to the university. So with that being said, please help me welcome Ms. Romy Rincon.
Hey everyone, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. As Ms. Lassarin said, thank you so much, Dr. Ramos and Ms. Lassarin. The last talk I gave was about me. It was about my journey, what brought me to SU, why I chose SU over other schools, you know, as I journeyed through my education, how I ended up being an educator myself here at SU, which I'm very proud of. So they asked me to repeat that talk with you again, and I said, no, I've already done that. It's going to be about as honest as it can possibly get. So you can look at YouTube for that one. For this one, I wanted to focus on you as students, okay? And I want to ask you a question, is why do you want to go to school? Why do you want to go to college particularly? Okay, for a lot of people, it's just the next logical step. You finish high school and right away you start thinking college, or your parents are pushing you college. Your friends are going to college, so you start going to college, okay? But it's not the next logical step, okay? Having taught already for almost 9 years here at SU, I have seen students that are taking the next logical step or seeing it college as the next logical step. And I've seen how they struggle. I've seen how at times they fail because they don't really want to be here. They're not doing it for themselves. They're doing it for someone else. And I've also seen students that, because they've lived life and they've been through different experiences, they now come to the realization that they need college in order to move ahead. That was pretty much my journey. I hit a brick wall and I said, you know what, if I want to get further in life and do something where I feel like I have a purpose and it's not just a job, not just making money, living paycheck to paycheck, I really have to invest and go back to school. So that was my journey, okay? So again, I'll ask you, why do you want to be in college? Are you here because you really want to, or are you here because you're fulfilling someone else's dream or someone else's wish for you? Are you doing it because your friends are doing it? Okay, those are poor excuses for coming to college, honestly, okay? And it could possibly affect your performance. College is not easy, all right? Remember, this is a want to. So when we instructors see you in our classes, we have the understanding that you're here because you want to do it. So the kind of guidance, I guess, the kind of hand-holding that occurs in middle school and high school, that doesn't happen in college, okay? In college, we assume that you're adults, we treat you like adults, and we expect you to behave like adults, okay? So that goes in with the way that we teach you and the expectations that we have for you. They are higher than maybe you'll see in high school or anything else. We do expect you to be in class. We do expect you to engage. We do expect you to complete the work. You're not going to get passed simply because you're a certain age and you have to get passed, right? Or to meet certain state requirements. It's like sometimes in high school they do that they'll just pass you because whatever reasons. Okay, that doesn't happen in college. Here you make it or break it based on your performance. And believe me when I say that every single person at SU wants to see you succeed. Okay, we want you to achieve your dream, your goals. Your success is our success. You are a reflection of us. So when you go out there and you're conquering the world and you're MAs and you're radiologists and you're MRI techs and you are running your own businesses and you are fixing cars to like the best ability that you have, or you're owning your own auto shops, whatever, okay, or you're doing great in medical coding, billing, or as health administrators, that is our success as well. So of course we want you to do well. Okay, so don't ever believe or think that we aren't behind you 100%, because we are. We are absolutely 100% invested in you. All of the instructors, all of my colleagues, we work extremely hard to prepare lessons for you, to find videos for you, to find articles for you to read, because we want you to learn. Going to school is it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. You take it little bit by bit. It's kind of like that old joke, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. That's college. You don't want to just run through it and just get the class, finish it, get the class, finish it, get the class, finish it, get the degree, boom, I'm done. No, okay, you want to learn, you want to take your time, you want to read well, you want to study well, and you want to finish well, okay? So again, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Enjoy the journey, okay? So as you're going through all of your classes, learn, guys, okay? School is about learning. That's its only purpose. Way back a long time ago, when the Greeks started the whole thing about learning, and they had, the philosophers like Socrates. Okay, Socrates was really big on learning, using the Socratic Method, which is named after him, of course, but it was a Q&A kind of discussion. Okay, he would ask people questions, and then they would answer, and then it would just create more questions. So it was this constant discussion, okay? And that's how people would learn in the old days. Then all of a sudden they came in with the grading system, okay? A dude by the name of William Farish in the 17th century, he was a tutor at Cambridge University in England. And he was basically trying to find a way to process students faster, okay? And it was very tedious, because imagine if you had to picture yourself, okay, in school, and maybe there's a class of about 20 people, and your instructor has to ask each and every one of you a question and really dig into your brain to see if you're actually learning the subject matter. Okay, imagine how long that would take, right? So you're not talking about a 1 hour class or 2 hour. This would take maybe a day, and he would have to do that with each of his students in each of his classes. So he was trying to find a better way of doing that. Okay, so for some reason he ended up in a shoe factory at some point, and he was watching how they would grade. Okay, that's how the grading system came about. Grade the shoes that they were creating or making. So if it was a great shoe, it would get an A, or a B, or a C, or D, or whatever. Okay, so and then he took that grading system and he implemented it in his classes, and he found that he could process the students faster. Okay, but in doing that, he lost that connectivity that had started, like with Socrates, with the Socratic Method. He lost that, are they really getting it? Okay, and then once they threw the grades in, well, people could game the system, and that's where we are now. We have this A through F grading system that a lot of times does not determine truly if you are learning. Okay, so remember, the only focus, the only purpose of school is to learn. Yes, it is absolutely possible to go through school and get a 4.0 and get a degree and come out on the other side knowing absolutely nothing. Okay, I've seen it. I've seen it happen. I've seen straight A students that are really not great students because they're not learning students. So if you're out there and you're pushing for those A's and continuously the focus is just the A, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with a 4.0 if you're learning. If you are getting the grades in place of learning, then that's not good, okay? Employers are not interested in your 4.0. They're not even interested in your degree. I'll tell you this, it might cause them to give you an interview because they might look at your resume and they might be impressed enough. Oh, look, they've got a bachelor's in this. Oh, they've got these certifications. Oh, they've got a 4.0, blah, blah, blah. It might like pique their interest and like, hey, let's bring them in for an interview. Okay. So then they bring you into the interview and you're sitting there and they start asking you questions about, well, tell me what you know about HIPAA. And tell me what you know about, maybe it's about engines, okay? Or maybe it's about radiology. Or maybe it's about just business questions about accounting. Who knows, right? Or is MA. And you don't know the answers. Why? Because you got the degree and all of these other things, but you never got the knowledge. And the knowledge is what's going to actually get you those jobs and help you keep those jobs, okay? Let me give you 2 examples that I have of 2 students, 2 former students that I ran into after they graduated. One is the ideal and one is not the ideal. Okay, so once upon a time, I ended up at UMC because I thought I had an appendicitis. So I was in a lot of pain. So I went to UMC and I'm lying there. They had given me some medication and stuff. And all of a sudden, this guy is in my doorway and he's like, Mr. Rincon. And I'm like, hey, I won't tell you his name. Okay, but hey, are you all right? What are you doing here? And I said, well, I'm, this and this. And I told him, and he says, wow, it's what I'm feeling better. That's great. I said, what are you doing here? He says, I work here. So he's very proud, showing me his UMC name badge. He says, yeah, I work here. I'm like, what do you do? And he says, I do like a little bit of everything. He says, but UMC is going to help me with my education. They're going to let me further my education. So just really excited. And I was very proud to see him there because I remembered him when he came into class and he was struggling a lot. He was very doubtful of his abilities. He quoted himself as being an old cholo. Okay, his words, not mine. But that's how he saw himself. And he said, I don't know if I can do this. He says, I'm old already. He says, I don't know. And I always encourage students, I don't care how old you are. If you're in school, if you want to learn, you can learn. Okay, you can do what you want to do. And that's the thing, is you have to want it. So he wanted it and he worked hard. He was not the best student, but he was a great student. Okay, and what I mean by that is he didn't get the best grades because like testing wasn't his thing. Okay, maybe, and he was working full time. So sometimes he didn't have the time to do an absolute A job on the assignments, but he got the work done. He was always in class. He was always asking questions. He was always curious. He was invested, guys. He was invested in his education. And to see him doing it, his job is great. That's what we want. That's the ideal. That's what our dream is for you. Okay, so that was an amazing experience. I was so happy for him. And then the other one, on the other side of the spectrum, is not so great. I ran into a former student at a Family Dollar store. And I kind of looked at her and she looked at me and like, I recognized her and I'm like, didn't I have you in class? She says, yeah, yes, miss, you did. I'm like, great, how are you doing? She says, well, I'm here. I'm like, what do you mean? She says, well, I'm here. She says, I'm still working at Family Dollar. And I'm like, I said, I know I had you in class, but I don't remember. I said, was it MA? And she says, yeah, it was MA. And that at one time I was teaching MA and I taught her in the MA program. And I said, so what happened? And she says, well, she says, I wasn't a great student. She says, I slacked it. She says, I just did what I had to do. I got my degree. She says, but here I am. She says, I can't find a job. And I'm like, well, have you gone back to the school? I'm like, you can ask, job placement, see if they can. No, she says, no. She says, it's not them. She says, it's not the school. She says, it's me. And I give her credit, because she took responsibility. She says, it's me. She says, I didn't take it seriously. She says, she says, I don't know. She says, I just did it because I thought that's what I should be doing. And she says, for nothing. And I'm like, well, you can always go back to, no, she says, school's not for me. Okay. So I just encouraged her, and she says, well, I'm going to try and be a manager here. And I'm like, well, that's great. That's great. If that's what you want to do, go for it. So these are two classic examples of a student, the first one who came back to school because he knew that he wanted to learn and he wanted to get ahead, and he did. The other one was a classic example of someone coming to school because they just thought that that's what you did, didn't take it seriously, didn't take full advantage of the opportunity, and ended up right back where they started. And then now in debt. Okay, because it was something that she mentioned that now she had the student loans and she still had to raise she has 2 kids. And so one, a great example, the other, absolutely not what we want to see. Okay, again, we want to see you succeed. We want to see you do well. So how do you do that? Okay, again, you have to ask yourself, why do I want to go to school? Okay, you're the only one that can answer that question. Personally, I think every single student advisor should ask a potential student, they should ask them that question. Why do you want to go to school? Because you should have a reason. You shouldn't just go on impulse. It shouldn't just be a thing that you do just because. You have to have that purpose, because that purpose is what's going to allow you to make it through and make it through well. If you have that goal of, I want to learn everything that I can so that I go out and get a good job and make my life better, chances are you're going to succeed. But if you're doing it for false reasons, like just to get the degree, again, a degree does not equal a job. Okay, it's the knowledge behind the degree that will get you the job, right? And again, do it for yourselves. You can't do it for your parents or your friends, or a lot of times I'll hear, I'm doing it for my kids. Okay, I'm doing it for my kids. I'm like, okay, but what do your kids have to do with, well, because if I make my life better, I'll make their life better. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's true. Okay, and that's honorable. However, you are the one that's going to be doing the work. You are the one that's going to be having to turn in the assignments and studying and reading into the late hours. Can you do that? And possibly work and take care of the home and take care of the kids and balance it out to where you do it well. Okay, again, your motivation has to be yourself. You do this for you. Why? You're worthy of this. You're worthy of doing this for. Okay, so you do it for you. Your kids will benefit from it. All right, and you can either set a good example or a bad example. Okay, so let's say that you do it for your children and you come to school and then you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize it was going to be this difficult. I didn't realize I was going to have so much work. So you start slacking. And you're not, and first you started, you're like, yeah, I'm going to do the homework. And you're sitting there on the dining room table. And then afterwards you're like, oh, whatever, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go to class. And you start slacking it off. Do you not think that your children are going to notice? Because maybe they were watching you when you're doing their homework. Kids will observe their parents, not necessarily say anything, but they'll see you. So maybe they saw you at the beginning excited and impassioned and watching you doing your homework. And they're feeling like, hey, look at my mom, look at my dad. And then all of a sudden they see you not with the books because you're tired and you're fatigued and you're overwhelmed. Now, what is that saying to them? Is that encouraging them to further their education? Are you now no longer a role model for them? So it's great to have your children as an inspiration, but you have to maintain that inspiration and finish well so that you are that role model for your kids, so that they do see you, so that they are inspired by you and seeing what you do. That is a good reason to do it for your children. But in and of itself, you need to do it for yourself, because you're the one that's going to be burdened with all of this work that you have to do, all these expectations. Like I said, college is not hard. Okay, SU I wouldn't say is hard. It's not, but you do It does require dedication. It does require time. Okay, another thing that I see a lot of are students with a lot of excuses. Okay, and that is, again, poor planning, because they want to come to school, but they don't really assess their situation well. They don't see that they have a job that is inflexible with their hours. They don't see that maybe they have little ones, little babies that still need a lot of attention, and they decide to come to school. The timing might not be right. Okay, school's not going anywhere. You really need to look at your situation financially. Are you able to, if necessary, leave your job so that you can pay full attention to your education? That might be necessary, like in a career like nursing, for example. Okay, that's a very, very heavy program. So it's not something you just want to go into lightly. You really want to think about it. You really want to ask yourself that question: why do I want to go to school? And also, is it the right time to go to school? Okay, because in order for you to succeed, which is what we want, everything has to align. Okay, the timing has to align, the reasoning behind you coming to school has to align, because we do want to see you succeed. You know, I hate to see students fail. I hate it. But I see it every semester. I see students that don't come to class. It's the saddest thing, because it's kind of like the equivalent of you going to a restaurant and ordering a meal, an expensive meal. Okay, and they come out and they lay it out in front of you. And you just get up and you go pay and you leave, and you just leave everything there. That's the equivalent. That's what not coming to class is. Because you're being offered this great opportunity, being offered this great thing, you're not taking advantage of it, you're still paying for it and getting absolutely nothing out of it. So being in school doesn't mean that you are in school. Being enrolled doesn't mean that you are a student. A student is in class. A student is learning and doing the very best that they can to learn all that they can, because you know that that is what's going to get you ahead in life. Again, the degree doesn't mean a thing if you don't have the knowledge to back it up. Okay, I know people that have degrees, masters, even doctorates, and man, some of the dumbest people on this planet, truly. Okay, and then you look at people like Steve Jobs, never got a degree, but that guy loved to learn. Steve Jobs, of course, is the founder of Apple. If you have an Apple phone or you have a watch or whatever, you can thank Steve Jobs. Anyway, this guy, he didn't finish college. And then there's people, oh, he didn't need college. Yeah, but you're not Steve Jobs. Okay, just know that you're not Steve Jobs. All right, Steve Jobs was unique, and he loved to learn. Though he wasn't enrolled in college, and he went to college. He would go in and sit in all these college classes because he wanted to learn the information. I would love to see that. I would love to just see people coming into my class. They're not enrolled, but they want the education. That would be great. Okay, they wouldn't be at graduation getting anything, but they would have the knowledge. That's what school is for. I don't care about your grades. I don't care about your degree. What are you learning? And if you're learning, the grades will come and the degree will come. But what are you learning, guys? What are you learning? What do you know? What have you, some of you are halfway through a program. Some of you are barely going to start your program. What do you know? Or are you just going from class to class to class to class just to finish? Is that going to get you what you want in life? Or is it just going to get you a degree? Okay, I have 3 degrees. Wow, big freaking whoop. Okay, if I didn't know my stuff, I couldn't teach. Think about that. Think about all of your instructors. If we didn't know our stuff, we couldn't stand in front of you and teach you. So the degree is secondary. When you're a nurse and you're taking care of a patient, they're not looking at your 4.0 GPA. They're not going to ask you, what degree do you have? All they care about is that you know how to take care of them. That's it. And that comes from what? Knowledge, from learning. That doesn't come from the degree. That doesn't come from the 4.0. Do you have the compassion? Do you have the empathy to take care of these people? That comes from learning. The desire to help people. So that's why I wanted to do this talk, because I think it's necessary that students ask themselves at the beginning of their academic career and as they go through, why am I in school? Sometimes you need to refresh, reboot yourself. Maybe you're halfway through your program and you're just so tired already and so overwhelmed. Believe me, I know what that's like. Okay, I know when you're so close, or even you're close to finishing, you're like, Dios mío, I just want this to be over. It's exhausting to be a student at times. There's so much to learn. There's so much work to do, but you have to reset and you have to ask yourself again, okay, why am I in school? To learn, to make my life better. Okay, let's go. Let's do it. Okay, but again, understand what your motivations are for being in school. Okay, know what you're getting into. Again, assess your situation that you're in, because maybe it isn't the right time. Okay, maybe when you get a better job, maybe you're working fewer hours, maybe your kids are a little bit older. Assess your situation. That will help you become a better student. It's not fun to be going through school and all of a sudden you have to drop because the pressures of life are interfering. Okay, but you do have to ask yourself that question, is now the right time? Okay, you can wait. School's not going anywhere, right? I hope SU is here for another 300-400 years. Right? School's not going anywhere. Right? We're always going to be here. So assess your situation. Understand that the purpose of school is learning and not getting grades and not getting degrees. You're just here to learn stuff. And that stuff is what's going to make you a success or a failure. Do it for yourself, not for anyone else. Okay, you're the one that's going to have to be doing all that work. Do it for yourself. So when you cross that graduation stage, you're like, yes, I did it. Okay, do it for yourself. And then hopefully you have children, they see you doing it, man, they're going to be inspired. In closing, I always get so emotional over these things. Ask yourself, do you want a better life? Do you want to get up in the morning with a sense of purpose, with a sense of I'm making a difference? College can do that for you. Okay, because it can help you achieve greater things. It can help you become something more than you ever thought you could be. But you got to get through all that learning to get there. It's absolutely possible. Okay, absolutely possible. Financially, you have to pay for all this. Okay, it's, yeah, in the US, we pay for our education. It is what it is. Okay, you can argue about it, discuss it, debate it. It is what it is. You will pay for your education. So it's a financial investment. Don't waste your money. Don't waste your money. Don't waste your time. You're not wasting our time. You're not. We're going to be here. Whether you succeed or not, we're here. But we want to see you all succeed. We want to see you do well. So don't waste your money, guys. Okay, you will regret it. Don't be like that student that I ran into at Family Dollar. What I could see the disappointment and the regret on her face. I could see that. It was horrible. Don't be that person. Know why you want to go to school. Do the work. Learn, learn, learn. And you will be better off. You'll be like that first student where his face was full of joy and expectation, and he was excited. UMC was going to help him continue his education. He was pumped, man. That's the best case scenario. That was awesome. I'll never forget that. So that's what we want to see. That's what we want for you. Okay, so before you start school or as you're going through school, continuously ask yourself, why do I want to go to school? You should say to learn. And then if you learn, you can better your life. To get a degree. Okay, what else? Again, the degree is not the thing. Okay, the degree is not the thing. The degree is what you get, but the learning is what is going to make a difference in your life, good or bad. That's pretty much all I have, other than to repeat our catchphrase, SU can make you happen. It's very true. But we need to add something to that, okay? And that is, but you must participate in your own success. We are here to help you. We facilitate learning. We will work with you, but you got to do it for you. So why do you want to go to school? For yourself, to learn so you can be better. That's it. Why else? Thank you. I hope this helps. I hope this makes you think. I hope it makes you realize what college is. It's not a joke. It's serious. And it will impact the rest of your life if you do it well or if you do it poorly. I hope you choose to do it well. I hope you choose to learn. If you do, I'll see you in class and you will learn something, I promise. Okay. Thank you. Any questions? Comments? Any experiences any of the students here want to share? Every student has an experience.
So we do have a question. Question is, you kind of mentioned already, but do you have any tips on how to stay motivated during those times when you're feeling like quitting?
Yeah, is to measure where your life is before coming to school. What were you doing before? Where were you before? And what is the possibility after? Okay, you always want to keep your eye on the goal, on that brass ring. What, are you satisfied with where you are now? Or do you want more? So of course, the answer is you want more. So that helps you push you through. I know it helped push me through, because there were some times that, man, a lot of tears going through school. Okay, a lot of tears, a lot of doubt. It was tough. It was tough, especially coming back. You're not a spring chicken anymore. I was in my 40s. It was in 2017 when I got my master's. So, again, not a spring chicken. It was difficult. But what pushed me through was seeing where could this lead me? Will I be better off after I get this degree? After I learn everything that I need to learn, will I be able to use that knowledge and further myself? Yes. So don't look backwards. You're always having to look forward. If you're doing it, like I said, you always have to do it for yourself. But if your children are an inspiration to you, think about what you're finishing well and learning can do for them. Okay, you can teach them the importance of learning and the importance of finishing and seeing everything through. Anything else?
Looks like that's it. So thank you, Ms. Romy, for taking the time to give us this wonderful presentation. I always admire your passion and care that you have, and for your students, and the dedication that you have to watch them succeed. We're always honored to have people like you have these talks and connect with students at a different level. So thank you for the wonderful presentation. I hope that everyone watching also took away valuable information. If you're viewing from our YouTube channel or have any questions, please be sure to comment down below and we'll be sure to get back to you quickly. But for now, thank you for tuning in, and be sure to tune in into SU Teaches SU every Thursday at 2 p.m. Mountain Time. Until then, thank you, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.